It's the Toronto Maple Leafs and the Ottawa Senators for Game 6 of the first round of the 2025 Stanley Cup Playoffs. Kahunas are on the line. Put up or shut up. Does this thing come back to Toronto for Game 7? We'll break down tonight's lineups. We'll break down our best bet as well as what we expect from both teams and the goalie matchups for tonight's game. I'm Zack Phillips. We'll take you all through this one as a presentation of Bet365, but let's not waste any time. People are anxious. People are antsy for tonight's game. Let's head on over to Daily Faceoff and see what we've got for tonight's lines for the Toronto Maple Leafs. Now, the one thing I think a lot of us were expecting, myself included, would have been a reinsertion of Nick Robertson into this lineup. I think the obvious candidate to come out at that point probably would have been Max Pacioretty. And a lot of that just had to do with, this guy looked like Jumbo Joe at the end of his time here in Toronto, where he just couldn't even get up and down the ice. The legs were far behind him at that point. That's kind of where we started to get to with Patches in that last game in Game 5. He just looked a little bit behind the play. He looked slow. He looked tired. Whatever it was, he didn't look like he was keeping up. He wasn't like a detriment, but he was not doing anything really for this team. And that third line, it's been struggling. Well, that's not the change that we've seen here, at least from this morning for tonight's game. We're going to see Max Pacioretty go up to the second line based on line rushes from this morning, courtesy of David Alter. We see John Tavares and William Nylander playing with him there. That will form your second line. Down to your third line, the one line that everybody in Leafs Nation has been begging to get going to this point. Bobby McMann, Pontus Holmberg, Max Domi, and your fourth line, which was arguably your best line in Game 5, which should never be the case. Kudos to them for having the game that they did, but when you have Matthews, Marner, Nylander, Tavares up there in the top 6, Scott Laughton, Steven Lorentz, and Calle Yarncroke on your fourth line should not be your best line in any given situation. They will form tonight's fourth line and round out your forward unit. So, look, we're not going to get the Nick Robertson lineup change for tonight's game. You're going to stick with what you have and basically the same roster or the same groupings. You're just shuffling things around of who plays with who and who plays where in the lineup. At the end of the day, in all honesty, none of this really matters. Before we get to the defense here of tonight's game, I just want to point out, none of it really matters. Sure, your third line needs to be better. Sure, if your fourth line plays the way that they did in the last 5 games, really, yeah, you're going to be poised to have some success. Nothing matters if Mitch Marner, John Tavares, William Nylander, and Austin Matthews are -4s and -3s and continue their trend of not being able to put up points and score in closeout games. It does not matter. I don't care about what you have to say about underlying numbers, about 5-on-5 stats, and Anthony Stolarz. I love the underlying numbers and analytics to help support arguments or project what may happen in the future. Nothing matters if the core do not show up. And I know Craig Berube's comments the other day was core. That's all I hear, core. It's on the team. Craig, I get it. And I'm not going to fault you for having that answer and responding that way, because that's the right way to answer that. That's the politically correct way for Craig Berube to answer that. And you know what? To some degree, yeah, sure, it's all on the team. And the team has to be better. And the team has to do it together. The core has to be better. Because they had a pathetic performance in Game 5. It wasn't the Sens beating the Leafs. It was the Leafs beating the Leafs. It was the Leafs doing Leafy things. And the Leafs throwing away that game. And Austin Matthews having a terrible pass. And Mitch Marner not playing the 2-on-1 the best. And William Nylander not back-checking hard. Basically saying, hey, I'll one-up you to help contribute to that loss. They need to be better. So the lines and who's in and who's out and who plays with who, that's all great. It's up to the 4. They need to be better for tonight's game. They need to be better. I'm sick and tired of having conversations about everyone else around them when they don't show up. It's up to the core. Down to what you've got for your defensive pairings for tonight's game. Jumping around to Jake McCabe, Chris Tanev, Morgan Riley and Brandon Carlo as your second pair, and then OEL and Simone Benoit. I really have no complaints with these guys. I don't have too much to offer when it comes to what they bring and how they're constructed or anything like that. I think the defense has been pretty good. You've seen them limiting opportunities, limiting shots on goal. You look at that game 5, I think Ottawa at that point had only had 17 total shots on goal in that game. You look back to game 4, they had a combined 4 shots on goal from the second and the third period. Like, your defense and your team defense is doing what they need to be doing. You need to score goals. You had 0 in game 5. 4 goals, 2 empty netters, 1 shorthanded. Not even a defenseman was on the ice for that goal. You need to score goals. You need to take advantage. I don't care how close they were. Posts, nothing. The defense has been good. The defense has answered the bell. They've checked the boxes. It's up to the core. Do they show up or do they not? If they don't show up, wave the white flag. Might as well just come back to Toronto and play Game 7 already. Who knows? Maybe you don't even get through that one. But you won't even get to have these conversations about what happens in the second round or what you could do against Florida. None of that will be existent if the core doesn't show up. The defense was pretty good. The one thing that they're sticking with, and I don't even know, the problem is you've backed yourself into a corner here, is the power play. 5 forward power play. Nyes, Tavares, Nylander, Marner, and Matthews. The 5 forward power play sticks together yet again. And, I mean, when they're hot, they are hot. You saw them start the series. They come out guns a-blazing, and every single time the Ottawa Senators do something stupid, they take a penalty, any of it, you are watching a group just go out there and utterly dominate. And then it falls off. And then Mitch Marner is getting exposed as the guy who's out there in the defensive spot. And then you're giving up shorthanded goals. And then you're giving momentum to the other team. As soon as that happens, you're screwed. But who do you go back to? Because it's not Morgan Riley. They clearly, for some reason, don't want to put OEL there. You are backed into this corner of it has to be those guys. And I mean, at the end of the day, I guess it's not all that bad, because if it's going to be anybody to get you through this, it's going to be the 5 who are going to win these games. It's going to be the 5 who are going to push you over the top. If they are not your best players, then you're going to be screwed. Look, you got to fight through. You got to if you got to find space, you got to find ways to score goals, and putting those guys out there on the ice in the power play opportunities is honestly a good way to say sink or swim. You're the ones who got to do it. You're the ones who got to get us over the edge. Will you show up? Let's see if they've got it here tonight. Let's now get to our best bet segment for tonight's game. Thank you again to our friends at Bet365. If you want to get in on the action for Stanley Cup Playoffs at Bet365, they got you from game props, player props, totals, and the money line. You can even bet on futures like series winners, conference champions, the Stanley Cup champions, and much more. Whatever your bet is, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Download the app and get in on the game. An official partner of the Stanley Cup Playoffs. You must be 19 or older. Ontario only. Please play responsibly. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, visit connectsontario.ca. So we lost the best bet last game. We've pretty much flip-flopped back and forth for the most part, except last one we did have the William Nylander anytime goal. We had the Matthew Nyes anytime goal at plus 300. No one scores in that one for the Maple Leafs. So that one does not cash, which then brings our season total to a profit. This goes back all the way to game 1 of the year. $851. That's 8.51 units. We are up on the year. That was Matthew Nyes anytime goal at plus 300. It would have profited us 150, but it does not. We cannot get that one home. Tonight, I'm going to go back to a usual suspect, but I'm also going to take a flyer on a guy for a small amount of money. So we're going to have 2 best bets, 2 official best bets for tonight's game. Let's start up at the top. Let's start with the man that we all expect to be showing up in big games. The guy that we all expect to be scoring goals and just really has not had the signature game yet this series. William Nylander, anytime goal at plus 190. William Nylander, anytime goal plus 190. $50 on William Nylander, anytime goal plus 190 will profit you here tonight. $85. Wait. 95 dollars it will profit you. Bad math on my behalf. $95 it will profit you on the William Nylander anytime goal. Look, this one is simple. Plus 190, I think, is a number that you get against tougher defensive teams, harder teams to score against, harder teams to play against. I get that Linus Ullmark had a better game the other day, but I still am not a big believer in these Ottawa Senators. I think the Leafs should be able to score. I think the core should be able to score. They've done enough to generate through some of these games. They just haven't capitalized on opportunities. You got to show up and do it tonight. I don't care. It's time. William Nylander has been relatively quiet throughout this series. He's not had his signature show up and get it done game. I think it happens tonight. Willie Nye, anytime goal, plus 190. The other best bet, this is going to be a small one, but he's been one of the best players for the Maple Leafs throughout the entire series. We're going to scroll all the way down on the Bet365 page. We're going to go $10 on him. 0.1 units. So we're going to have $60 in play tonight total. 50 on Nylander, plus 190. $10 on Scott Laughton anytime at plus 1,400. Those are your two best bets. One of the biggest reasons on the Scott Laughton anytime goal here tonight is one of the best players. Berube's trusting them. If you get to a situation here tonight where the third line is not going, they're not looking that great, you're going to very quickly see Craig Berube rely on that fourth line more, start to deploy them more. You're seeing Scott Laughton get offensive zone opportunities there. I mean, in shutdown roles, he's getting it. Empty net positions, Scott Laughton's going to get chances to go out there. I just think Scott Laughton has been one of the better, more reliable players on this team through 5 games in this series. I feel like it's coming. The offense is starting to get there. The confidence is showing through for Scott Laughton. I think he gets one here tonight. I feel like he's one of those big game guys. Like, he's a guy that shows up in the playoffs, shows up when it matters. I think Scott Laughton gets it done tonight. There's lots to like about the way Scott Laughton has been playing. So $10 on Scott Laughton will profit you $140 here tonight. That's going to do it for today's pregame show. Just a quick reminder, Anthony Stolarz gets the net. Linus Ullmark gets the net for the Ottawa Senators. No changes there. I get that Linus played better the other day. I get that Anthony Stolarz did not have the best game. I'm getting all these GSA X below and above expected, blah, 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 from Vic about why Anthony Stolarz hasn't been the best. You got to score. The Toronto Maple Leafs scored 0 goals in the last game. Even if Anthony Stolarz gave up 0, the Leafs scored 0. I think Stolarz has been fine. You've committed to the guy. If you were going to change it, it would have been game 5. It's too late now. You're not changing. You're committed to Anthony Stolarz. He is your guy. He will get it done tonight. And none of it matters if the big boys don't show up. Thank you all for watching. Make sure to hit that like button, subscribe here to the channel, turn on notifications so you don't miss anything right here on the Leafs Nation 401 YouTube channel as we push for 20,000 subscribers now here on this channel. Thanks all for watching. Drop your predictions below. Let's see your best bets. Do you like? Do you dislike mine? We have 2 for the night here tonight. Again, appreciate you all. I'll be back here for another Leafs Nation After Dark following Game 6 against the Ottawa Senators. And I will be joined, win or lose, by the man, the myth, the legend, Jay Rosehill. Thanks all for watching. See you guys tonight. Until then, keep believing. For more content just like this, including game previews, post-game live shows, Leafs Morning Take Monday through Friday with Nick Alberga and Jay Rosehill with special guests, as well as instant reaction videos, make sure to be subscribed here to the Leafs Nation YouTube channel. Turn on notifications so you don't miss anything, and drop a like.